Alright, welcome back to the Arabian Open Masters here. We got every game on Arabia today with Matiz in the yellow trunks. Here is the English, the bottom side of the map. He's up against Flash on the top side of the map, a strong player from China who's on Ottomans today. I think Matiz is Polish. I could be wrong about that. I think that's right. Probably just double check that quickly. Yeah, Polish. No. Yeah, Polish. So two really strong players here facing off in Adico's the Arabian Open Masters tournament. So every map in this tournament is on Arabia. Probably the most standard map. Dry Arabia, to be exact, is the name of it. Arabia is a map from the other AoEs. Actually, AoE 2, AoM, and AoEO all have an Arabia, whereas, yeah, AoE 4 is Dry Arabia. But anyway, really solid players facing off today. And we're in the losers bracket, round 3. So the winner of this goes through the decider in hopes of making the top 8. So they're not out of the running just yet. And Matiz, no early wood gathering, no early farm production for him. He wants to get going quickly. His opponent, Flash, early military school. Having distance gathered stone, just to make sure he could squeeze that out, because it is going to mean he does get free spearmen. Later on when he ages up, he can obviously go for archers, Sipahi or Meta. All really good choices in their own way. Sipahi with the most actual fighting value. Meta probably the most valuable to actually train up, but they do take a little bit longer to spit out than the archers and the spearmen, I believe. So yeah, would have gathered 50 wood, 50 stone, while gathering from his sheep. Gonna have to distance gather a bit more wood so he can actually spit out a lumber camp now. So we've got Council Hall, Longbowman on the way. I've been a bit out of the loop. I haven't actually played the game for a couple of months. I've got a dodgy shoulder, so I'm trying to rest it up. But I've heard that the Abbey of Kings has actually received a massive buff, and you can basically generate a king unit out of it, which more or less turns a unit of yours into a hero that can then have the same healing buff of the Abbey of Kings. So scouts-wise, I think we've only got one scout here for Matiz. I only have the one, sorry, the one for Flash as well, but he does have those early spears, so he can get a little bit of vision, a little bit of pressure on the map with those. But Matiz, skipping early farm production, can already be on the way to age 2 before the spear's even in his base. And Twin Minaret, Madrid's going to be nice for our Ottoman player. Going to give him an infinite source of berries. So not going to be a huge problem here for Matiz. So we just have to get in town centre range in these spears. Not going to last very long at all. Again, at this stage they're mostly just trash for Flash because he is generating them for free. Really, it's Meta and Sipahi production that you really want out of the military school. Producing some of your more expensive age 2 units. That'll take a little bit longer. I think it's definitely worth it. And then, you know, if you need spears or archers, you just add barracks and ranges. It's less annoying than having to add the stables and then spend the extra resources adding horsemen. The Twin Minaret, Madrid on the way. Council Hall on the way as well. I only got 2 villages on that, so Matiz is going to be able to get a lot of gathering done in the meantime. I'm going to go for a quick second TC. Flash is, I guess, pretty much just set up to try and push Rage 2 here. Like, he's already got, yeah, Super Heat production switch. Now, got the spear, trying to harass the Stone Gather. It's not really going to get a lot of value, just tickle a couple of villages for now. But there is no early access to healing here for the English player, so the more damage he can get done, even if he doesn't get any kills, you know, he's been getting these units for free, so at least, you know, he does get a little bit of value out of that. Very safe second TC placement. But conversely, it means that there's not really a lot of area actually covered here by our English town centres. And I mean, our Ottoman players got to get to the stage where he can actually push one of them, or push underneath one. So Flash going to go for a second TC himself, getting specialised picks so he can get faster mining. Because realistically, specialised picks going to benefit all of his stone and gold gatherers. Now that it's a little bit of a cheaper tech, all the H2 techs are a little bit cheaper than they were. Oh, that patch is probably now 6 months ago now. Ever since then, I think it's really taken the pressure off having to wait for 15 villages on a resource before you fucking take your tier 1 eco tech. So that's really quite nice. And conversely, because it's stronger, I think people are more likely to actually delay wheelbarrow early on, because, you know, you might as well just get tier 1 eco techs at the same time. And so we've got second military school for the meta production, and there is still more stone mining here for Flash. So he wants to go for a second town centre eventually, and make use of the fact that he can shit out meta and Sipahi. Fairly reasonable training time here. He's got the blacksmith already, so it's already a little bit shorter. It's over a minute to train them both, but still, it's a big saving in the long run, particularly with those two units in H2. Spears and archers you can spit out a bit faster, and the cheaper units, so it's sort of, I think it works out to pretty similar value, but it is nice. Definitely being able to start out with a handful of spears like this, tempt your opponent to possibly produce longbows, and all the while just be producing cavalry. But English, in particular, not really going to be too susceptible from this early raiding. Like, it's a little bit of damage on the villages, but English villages, as you can see, not a lot of work for them to actually kill small numbers of harassing units. Sipahi's going to make things a bit dangerous for Matiz, but he's bringing back the scout because he's found one last sheep anyway. And he might just be looking to go for a fairly quick age 3 here. Like, he's really expanding this farm eco, getting a lot of gold as well. Our friend Flash over here is adding some markets, so just going to go for some market trade here. That's a little bit risky, and I mean, obviously going to be pretty easy for Matiz to spot, because he'll be trying to rally the trade poster on the far side of the map, so he'll be coming straight past these towns, well, a little while away, but coming straight past Matiz's base, basically.
İş bizi bekler. Yarmak alırım. Satık kılarız.
Where are they? Oh, he's got one all the way back up here. Oh, okay, no, never mind, that makes sense. I completely forgot about that. He could just put it up here. It's a fairly short market line, but it's very safe. And I mean, 49 gold. Oh, I mean, it's a shitty market line, but you know, that's 5 villages worth still per caravan, so it's pretty big. I mean, before wheelbarrow and eco-techs, but still quite nice. King's Palace for Matiz, and he's decided, well, no, I'm going to put it here. A couple of villagers potentially going to get picked off here, but bearing in mind our English player is on 3 TC, so As long as he does kill the cavalry for it and get these guys back to work with minimal losses. Matiz is pretty fine at the moment, but bearing in mind, Flash with triple caravan production, he's not really in a rush to get to castle. And I mean, it will put him a little behind on tech till he does get there. So Matiz can potentially push in with some knights and try and snatch some relics. Always had access to man-at-arms being English, but you know, Castle Age man-at-arms in particular are really quite beefy against anything other than knights and crossbows as well. So that's another good choice because right now Sipahi not going to trade too well against those. Let's do just a couple more spearmen. We produce monastery. Now to try and snatch up some quick relics here for Matiz. So he's really going all out with the greed at the moment. In fact, both players sort of are Flash, obviously with his 3 caravan production, or his, at least these 2. And then this one's just obviously the drop-off point. So I'm still a bit of a caravan noob with AoE 4. Just a bit out of practice with the game. Imperial Armory on the way for our Ottoman player, so it's going to give him a nice trickle of siege units, just like the way his military skills work with his non-siege. And on top of that, they do benefit from being near the blacksmith, just like a military school. And if you go for the observatory later on, it actually ups that rate that it's improved by. So with that 40% production time reduction, or 33% in Castle, you end up with still a bit of a longer train time than producing them with cost, but I mean, you're getting them for free still. And then from there, you're really able to transition into just having a whole bunch of actual production. So Flash is doing what he can to try and snipe. Oh, is this conversion going to go off? No. Unlucky there for Matiz. I was just thinking his Flash a little bit late there, but no, he's right. Flash camping the other one as well, so 2 monks gonna fall here for relatively little, just a bit of damage on the actual composition here. The conversion attempt unsuccessful, the monk falls, but at least the Sipahi gets cleaned up. The banner actually increases the speed, doesn't it, at 1.88? Oh no, it doesn't. I thought it did. Or is that a Vizier tech upgrade? Because I can swear Meta used to actually give movement speed as well as their whatever bonus they have applied. Unless they might have nerfed them. The spear ball going to be very scary, even for this outnumbering Sipahi to fight, because they're lower, and this guy's a nice counter. So it's just spearman spam for the time being from our English player. It's not really any attempt to make anything else at the moment, which there is probably eventually going to be a transition to something else here by Flash. So crossbowman production already. Obviously not as good against spearmen as archers are in terms of the cost, but the beauty is it sort of denies Matiz from being able to just pump out man-at-arms, because he's gone for a lot of barracks now. He's starting to make those longbows. A couple of villagers getting cleaned up there by Flash, and he is going to be able to get out of here and might not be able to get the monk. So now, Matiz able to grab one of the relics. Sippy not going to really be able to stick around for too long. Villagers not being microed is going to mean one of them gets picked off. Matiz trying to wall himself in. Flash attempting to lock his opponent off from the gold mines and the sacred site up this way. Matiz sort of locking himself in from the ones over this side anyway. So Mangonel. Crossbow production now. I'm going to switch to Knights from the Sipahi, so these guys possibly going to be able to take a little bit more from the spears, but the real benefit is they'll be able to cut through all the longbowmen and the English villagers, who are pretty much an archer in their own right anyway. A little bit faster. So Flash is rolling out here. Big food eco now for our English player. He plays in a nice spot economically. Matiz trailing slightly, I think, because the caravan eco is sort of offsetting the fact that he's gone up in terms of one town centre. I think this palisade fall pretty much uncontested, but there's a nice mass of the English army here. In fact, Matiz, slightly bigger army here, and Flash is risked it all, taking the fight running in like that, but now here we go. Flash is actually going to take on the longbows, and he does have the mangonel here as well. Knights are going to get picked off. They have killed a couple of longbows, but to be honest, I thought the Knights were a little bit lazily microed there, but the mangonel shot, really quite nice. Gets a few spears. Springle going to be able to snipe the mangonel though, so Flash, not the greatest of fights for him here, but he is got a lot of map control behind this. Matiz's comp is cheap and really outnumbering Flash's here, so I don't know how Flash is actually taking this fight so well here. He is walling in Matiz around the map though, and really locking him off. Getting a lot done. Archers now hitting the field for Flash, so these guys still going to have an uphill battle against longbows, but less so than crossbows will. And for now, Matiz hasn't actually transferred off his Age 2 composition, so there's sort of no need for the longbows just yet. It's actually a slight waste in comparison to the archers, I think. Oh no, they still have slightly higher base damage, but even still, they've got shorter range than the archers too, I believe. Trying to fight these longbows might be a bit tough, but at the same time, there's not really a lot of front line here for either player, and now that range will actually favoring Flash here, so well, a bit of a misclick here. He's focusing on a deer instead of Matiz clicking on one of the deers. So two volleys sort of wasted there for the longbows instead of them either running back or attacking Flash there. So a bit of a mismanagement there. He's going for his Imperial. He's managed to get this far, but I think he's bled a lot more of the army than he should have. Like, he's been finding a cost-effective comp here, but Flash's army size is now a lot closer than it was prior to the last engagement. There's a few more villages, and Flash is going to try creeping up with the keep. Now, the pressure's really on because Matiz going to have to try and get trebuchets out. Multiple, probably. Because with this many villages around, you can just repair through the damage of one. Just briefly population capped here. This might come back to haunt him because He's going to want to be maxed out ASAP in this position. There you go, pretty much instantly making another 10 units because he's had them all banked up, but it's actually slowing down the next set of units from coming out. Slowed down that Treb from hitting the field, so now there's a little bit more on field for Flash, and he's able to try and push here. Matiz is actually up in terms of pop, but I think he could have been 200 pop by now, which is sort of the problem. One of his siege weapons getting picked off, and CP beelining for the Springald. If they can pick this off, and the Mangonel going to be pretty much unopposed at the moment because the Treb worrying about the keep. So this little bugger, nice splash damage here, and there just seems to be more of a range ball still standing here for Flash at the moment. Matiz struggling to hold him off at the moment. Wingard Palace going to pop out a nice army here. 3 crossbows, 3 hand cannons instead of the original Wingard army. And we've got a Sacred Site win on the cards here for Flash, so he's managed to control enough of the map that Matiz, he's managed to get a little raid done here. Taken out a couple of houses and killed off, or attempted to kill off a couple of villagers at least. Flash having some villagers of his kept busy trying to keep that keep up, but Matiz snatching another relic here. Just generating a little bit more gold out of that. Okay, that's supposed to be 200 a minute. So Flash happy to cop the beating until he can get to 200 pop, because I think he's looking to try and push Matiz. Right now he is up on population once again. Man-at-Arms could be a pain to deal with, but there is also a huge crossbow element to Flash's comp already, and it's really scared Matiz from actually fielding them until as late as he can. This Flash sort of preempted him there. Hand Cannoneers on the field with some crossbows. So these guys are going to be good against the Man-at-Arms. So Flash has now got the great Bombard, looking to try and punch some holes in some structures. Now this thing doesn't want to lose it because it is quite expensive, but it's devastating with its attack. So Sacred Site being snatched back here for Matiz. This is nice. Takes the pressure of the win con away for a little bit, but bearing in mind there is a huge force on his doorstep, and there's a huge Bombard on his doorstep, which is killing a couple of units every time he gets a shot off here. So the beauty of these things is they function like the other Bombard units, but they also have the sort of splash that a Mangonel will. So they're both a nice anti-building and anti-unit siege here. Another Bombard backing it up, and a Mangonel. It's a lot of splash siege here. Not a lot to help protect it here at this point though. A couple of shots off will waste this front line. So Matiz, even though he takes out most of the army, and he manages to get down the keep, there's not enough to actually overwhelm the Bombards at the moment. The Man-at-Arms raid finding the market line, but another Man-at-Arms actually picking off some vills over here, quite nice for Matiz at the moment, but there's pressure on around the map for him. Flash continuing to try and push forward. Multiple Bombards here. He needs to try and repair this one at the front, so he will bring a lot of villagers up for that, because let's just get on it just in time before the Springer can take it down. There's even help from a Trebuchet here. Try and take out the outpost. bombards. Now taking out the Springald. Matiz seemingly overwhelmed Flash's army here though, so he might be able to snipe these. The tower still alive, haven't been repaired through it. Gonna get fortified. Don't know if it'll last long enough for that to go on. The villagers being picked off here by Matiz. So Flash down to 111 villagers, but he's got a bit in the bank. He might be able to afford just replacing them and just bringing more villagers, more army, keeping the pressure up. Keep going down here for Flash. He doesn't really push into Matiz. He's taking a lot of his university techs. So I don't know if Matiz has been able to afford his yet. Archer's taking a little bit to actually engage in the fight there. Get closer to Matiz's base. He's going to get a bit more support here from the dual town centers. So the keep finished up for Flash, so he's going to be able to slowly work away at that Windguard Palace when there's not units here to protect this, and that's the damage from that. He's going to get a cannon in placement, bombard keep. Man, the castle building getting cannons must give AoE 2 turtlers the biggest hard on. Unreal. And then you get outposts you can turn into towers early on or bombard towers later on. This is looking scary for Matiz here. How's he gonna try and break this? He's gonna lose the Windguard Palace here, so no access to the army shipments. Zone Treb working away at the back keep, so this is a good idea because Flash isn't paying attention to this one, so he's going to lose it, and then Matiz just needs to worry about breaking these front structures. But at the same time, Matiz is going to need to apply his pressure to these towers and this keep over here at some point. So, well, that is a nice blow, and he might, if he can see them, he might even be best off trying to focus down these production facilities. Because eventually Flash is going to take notice. Although, Flash is looking to just keep the pressure up and try and cut through on the farm eco next, even starting his own farm eco over here. But this is really painful for the English player because this is not only food but also gold generation for him. And losing the farm's going to cost wood, so effectively you are impacting all three resources late game. For the English player, if you do start dismantling the farm eco and that primary town centre going down is going to really mean all of this is under a lot of threat. Oh, big raid on Elite Knights. And Matiz still got one man-at-arms just running around in the base there of Flash, but I don't know if he's going to get a lot done in the meantime. Yeah, he does end up getting picked off. And it's a bit of a Custer's last stand here for Matiz. He's struggling to keep up to 150 pop, and Flash takes the game from there.